The movie begins with a former guard of the German emperor falling in love with one of his maids, unaware that her dark secret could threaten them both. Captain Stefan Brandt is summoned to Berlin because Kaiser Wilhelm II needs a new commander for his military guard. Although Stefan was dismissed for poor leadership, he is still considered an icon, so he is assigned to guard the Kaiser. He tries to argue that he is not suitable for the job, but a general reminds him that, after his mistakes in Poland, he is lucky not to be court-martialed. Stefan travels to the Netherlands, where the Kaiser lives in exile. When he arrives, a maid named Mika opens the door for him, and Colonel Sigurd, the Kaiser's military aide, greets him. The Kaiser's wife, Hermione, informs Wilhelm that the new military guard is already here. Wilhelm does not want to acknowledge this, but Hermione insists on the importance of making a good impression. She believes that the country might want Wilhelm to return, so they should invite the new commander to dinner. As he begins his duties, Stefan learns from Inspector Dietrich that he is supposed to spy on Wilhelm's attitude towards the regime. The inspector also warns him that British intelligence might attempt to kidnap or kill the Kaiser. Later, Mieke accidentally walks into a military briefing while bringing coffee. Wilhelm asks her if she would invade the Netherlands if she were in power, and Mieke confidently says yes, which makes Wilhelm laugh. That evening, Mieke comes to Stefan's room to deliver an invitation to dinner from the Kaiser. Stefan immediately feels attracted to her and asks her to undress. She does so, and they engage in some intimate activities, but Stefan has to stop due to a painful injury, after which he sends her away. During dinner, Wilhelm talks about his reign, and Hermione changes the topic to Stefan, who shares that his father and grandfather served in the army, and his mother, who cleaned houses, died when he was young. This upsets Wilhelm because it happened during his rule. He asks if he is blamed for it, stating that his fleet betrayed him, which is why he lost the war. The room falls silent, and Wilhelm leaves. In his room, Stefan finds Mieke waiting for him. She tells him to undress, and they become intimate. Afterward, Mieke rushes to leave, but Stefan asks her to stay. She ignores him and leaves. The next morning, Sigurd informs the Kaiser that Stefan wants to move into the house due to a threat to his life. Sigurd also offers Wilhelm a briefing on the progress of the war, but Wilhelm prefers to feed ducks outside. Hermione is disappointed but remains hopeful about Wilhelm's restoration to power. Sigurd believes that this hope only adds to Wilhelm's stress. Mieke brings more bread for the ducks, and Wilhelm invites her to join him. He comments on her beautiful hands and asks if she is accustomed to physical labor. Mieke replies that the war has changed her life. When Stefan arrives, Wilhelm jokingly mentions that Stefan believes there is a British spy in the house, which catches Miike's attention. Wilhelm asks Mieke to show Stefan to his new room. While showing him the room, Mieke warns Stefan that the staff is not allowed to spend the night with men, but still tells him where her room is before leaving. Later, Dietrich informs Stefan that they have pinpointed the location of spy transmissions in a nearby village and will search it that evening. He also informs him that Himmler will join them for dinner the next day. Stefan passes the news to Wilhelm during breakfast, but Hermione mentions Himmler's visit first. She asks Stefan to ensure that Himmler hears only positive things about Wilhelm and his home. During the search, Mieke worries that Stefan personally checks her room to protect her, suspecting she might be a spy. While helping Wilhelm feed the ducks, he asks Mieke about her romances. Mieke admits she is seeing someone, but does not know him very well. Wilhelm talks about his first love, who married someone else, and advises her to seize her chance. After the search, Mieke rushes to her room, relieved that her hidden gun was not found. She quickly leaves the estate, which Stefan notices. Mieke goes to a church to inform Pastor Hendrik about Himmler's visit. She wants to kill Himmler, but is told it is not her mission. However, Mieke insists on avenging the death of her father and husband. Hendrik agrees to ask their allies whether they should proceed. Stefan overhears their conversation. That night, Hendrik sends a message to London, allowing Dietrich's men to capture him. Mieke sneaks into Stefan's room for comfort, and they spend the night together. Stefan wakes up early from a nightmare about a village in Poland, where the army killed innocent people. He explains that he was discharged for beating the officer responsible for those crimes. Mieke says their regime is full of people like that officer. Stefan becomes angry and does not believe Miike's words, but suddenly proposes to marry her. Mika reminds him that she is Jewish, but Stefan promises to protect her. Their conversation is interrupted when someone appears. Later, the Kaiser summons Stefan and Mika because Hermione has found out about their relationship. Hermione demands their dismissal, but Wilhelm wants to talk to them personally first. Wilhelm is glad that Stefan is the man Mika spoke of and shares that he himself had relationships outside of marriage. He decides not to punish them, but asks them to be more discreet in their relationship. Despite this, Stefan is soon summoned to Dietrich, who informs him that they have captured Pastor Hendrik and are torturing him for information. Dietrich promises that they will find the spy by the end of the day, which makes Stefan nervous. Hermione speaks to Sigurd privately, expressing concern that Wilhelm may anger Himmler, putting them in danger. Sigurd warns her that even former high-ranking officials have been killed for insufficient loyalty. Hermione orders Sigurd to ensure that Wilhelm does not succumb to provocation when Himmler arrives. Stefan warns Mika that Hendrik has been captured and is being interrogated. Mika pretends not to understand why Stefan is telling her this, but Stefan accuses her of being a spy. He knows about the rifle oil from her room and her visit to the church. Feeling defeated, Mika tells Stefan to arrest her, but he cannot do so and instead asks her to leave. Hermione nervously tries to bribe Himmler, hoping to gain support for Wilhelm's return to power. Himmler and Wilhelm go for a walk, and later, Hermione finds Wilhelm in shock. Wilhelm was invited to return to Berlin, which Hermione perceives as a sign that he might be restored to his position. Wilhelm advises her to keep it a secret for now. Stefan meets with Dietrich, who confirms that Himmler's plan to restore Wilhelm is a ploy to identify loyalists. Dietrich orders Stefan to intercept all messages and report them. During dinner, Himmler discusses plans for the Jewish population, including unpleasant ideas about exterminating those unable to work. This horrifies the other officers. As Himmler prepares to leave, Mika tells Stefan that he is an exception among the cruel people they have seen. Stefan asks Dietrich to inform him about the pastor's confession, and then sends Himmler's team away. Hermione finds Wilhelm in the forest, where he decides to stay in the Netherlands instead of returning to Berlin. He explains that the cruelty of the regime convinced him to stay, and Hermione accepts his decision. Stefan and Sigurd bring a van to take Wilhelm to the hospital, but Stefan drives him to Mika. They explain the situation to the Kaiser, who agrees to hide Mika. Dietrich's men are waiting at the gates. Stefan distracts them, allowing Mika and Wilhelm to escape safely. Mika thanks Wilhelm for saving her life, and he falls asleep. Mika decides to leave and invites Stefan to join her, but he refuses, choosing to stay and fight for his country. Mika promises to marry him if he finds her after the war. A few weeks later, Stefan receives a package from Mika with an address. He informs Wilhelm that Mika is safe in London. Pregnant, Mika is summoned for a meeting with the Prime Minister. Stefan eagerly awaits meeting Mika, unaware that she will greet him with their child. This is the end of the movie. That's all for today. Subscribe and like if you want more videos like this.